Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Today I am going to discuss with you the regional situation. We know that the tension is rising between the United States of America and the Islamic Republic of Iran. Recently, one of their cargo planes on its flight towards Lebanon was buzzed by an F-15 fighter aircraft in Syria, near Syria. And Iranians have been carrying out exercises in the Persian Gulf, in the Strait of Hormuz. They have towed a replica of Nimitz-class aircraft carrier, which they have been using as target practice. Besides, they have carried out on this yesterday, ballistic missile tests from underground silos in a desert region. They have not specified the area of their tests because they want to keep the secrecy. And this test has been part of their Great Prophet 14 series of exercises. So Iran is carrying out tests. Iran is feeling the brunt of American sanctions. Its rial has plummeted, and at the moment its value is 230,000 rials to a dollar. Meanwhile, surely the Iranians are moving into the Chinese orbit. They are now part of a 25-year, $400 billion deal with the Chinese, in which they will be providing the Chinese with oil at concessional rates, and the Chinese will be building infrastructure projects with them. The Iranians have also removed the Indians from certain Char-Bahar projects, which include the railway line project from Char-Bahar to Zahedan, and it has also cancelled the deal with the Indians in the Farzad B gas field. So overall, there is tension in the region. Iran is showing preparedness against the Americans, carrying out these exercises. Meanwhile, also the Indians have received their first installment of the 36 Rafale French aircraft. 5 of these landed on an airbase in Ambala in the Haryana state, and they were given a water cannon reception. Whether the arrival of these aircraft will materially change the power equation is in the India-China balance, it's hard to say. India and China were involved in a 6-week long standoff, which was triggered by hand-to-hand combat in the Galwan Valley. The Indians suffered casualties. Indians claimed that they had also inflicted losses on the Chinese, but there has been no evidence. Chinese have not shown their dead bodies. Indian dead bodies are quite evident. Currently, the two countries have withdrawn from the line of actual control, but tensions are still there. So this is what is happening in India. These aircraft are only a partial requirement for the Indian Air Force, which requires about 150 new aircraft jet fighters, and the French company Dassault is also competing in this market, aircraft market in India. So Iran is carrying out exercises. India is acquiring more weapons. Meanwhile, in Afghanistan, the Taliban have declared a truce, a temporary truce, to cover the Eid al-Adha, one of the holiest festivals of the Islamic world. And they have done that earlier also, and of Ramzan and Eid al-Fitr earlier, and when the Taliban had descended on Kabul and other cities and they had roamed around freely. The Kabul government says that they are going to release the remaining prisoners. They have yet to complete the tally of 5,000 very important prisoners that the Taliban are demanding should be freed. Meanwhile, Ashraf Ghani's government has installed Abdul Rashid Dostum as full marshal in their army. They want to develop better ties with the Uzbeks. Abdul Rashid Dostum has been at one time the vice president of Afghanistan, and he represents the Uzbeks. He had fled Afghanistan and he had taken refuge in Turkey, so he's now returned. He had been a contestant in the last presidential elections also, but Ashraf Ghani now wants him as a partner. Meanwhile, the Taliban have also declared Mullah Umar, the late chief of the Taliban, as the head of their military. This young man, his name is Mullah Muhammad Yaqub, will be the overall commander of the Taliban military forces, whereas Akhund Habibatullah remains their, I would say, nominal chief. The negotiation team, which is residing in Qatar, is being headed by Mullah Brother, who was for a very long time in Pakistani custody. So these are the changes which are happening in the area. Meanwhile, from the Pakistani front, the good news is that the COVID-19 upward trend has been arrested. The curve has more or less flattened. Pakistan has not seen more than 5,000 deaths. There have been very few people reporting to hospitals. The ICUs are also not experiencing any certain surge, and overall the government believes that if the situation remains stable and if people follow the SOPs during Eid al-Adha and Muharram, then probably the first battle against this deadly virus will have been won. Thank you very much for listening to me. I expect positive feedback from you. Thank you very much.